Lynn, Nottage is Ruined, 2008, is a powerful, harrowing drama set in the war-torn Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, where civil war has ravaged the land and shattered the lives of countless civilians. The play centers on Mama Nadi, the owner of a bar and brothel who offers protection to women who have been sexually violated and discarded during the conflict. By examining the lives of these women, referred to as ruined by society, Nottage presents an unflinching look at sexual violence in war, the resilience of women, and the ambiguous ethics of survival. The play is inspired by Bertolt Brecht's Mother Courage and Her Children and by Nottage's own research and interviews with Congolese women who had suffered during the Second Congo War. With stark realism and poetic humanity, Ruined exposes the atrocities of war while celebrating the endurance and dignity of its victims. Setting: the play is set in a bar in a small mining town near a forested region of the Congo, during a brutal civil war where various rebel factions and government troops clash over control of mineral wealth, particularly coltan, a key ingredient in electronics. The bar serves as a neutral zone, where soldiers, miners, and traders drink, seek comfort, and do business. Characters: Mama Nadi, a tough, shrewd businesswoman who runs the bar and brothel. She is both protector and exploiter, navigating a moral gray area to survive and protect her girls. Sophie, a 17-year-old girl who has been ruined by gang rape and genital mutilation. She is intelligent, musical, and emotionally wounded. Salima, another girl taken in by Mama. She was abducted, raped, and rejected by her village after escaping captivity. Josephine, a flirtatious and pragmatic worker at the bar who tries to maintain control over her situation. Christian, a traveling merchant and poet, fond of Mama Nadi. He brings new girls and supplies to the bar. Mr. Harari, a Lebanese diamond merchant, often at the bar. Commander Osembenga, a corrupt government official. Jerome Kisimbi, a rebel leader whose presence destabilizes the town. Act 1. The arrival of the girls. The play begins with Christian bringing Sophie and Salima to Mama Nadi's bar. Mama is initially reluctant to take Sophie because she is ruined, a euphemism for women who have suffered severe sexual violence and can no longer have sex. Christian pleads with Mama to take the girls, and Mama eventually agrees, seeing that Sophie can help with chores and sing for the customers. Mama's bar is frequented by both government soldiers and rebel fighters, and she carefully maintains neutrality, refusing to take sides or allow politics in her bar. Her business thrives on this delicate balance. Sophie and Salima begin adjusting to life in the bar. Salima is quiet and reserved, haunted by her trauma. Sophie, though more outspoken, suffers from chronic pain due to the mutilation inflicted during her rape. Mama shows a maternal side in how she protects the girls, forbids fighting, and demands respect from her customers, but it is clear she also profits from their labor and uses them strategically. Act 2. Rising tensions and hidden trauma. As the war intensifies, the bar becomes a more dangerous place. Rebel and government factions continue to fight, and everyone lives in fear of shifting allegiances and brutal reprisals. Salima's story is gradually revealed. She was abducted from her village by soldiers, held for months, and repeatedly raped. When she returned home, her husband and community rejected her, blaming her for her own victimization. Sophie reveals she was raped with a bayonet, which caused fistula injuries that make her incontinent. She saves money in hopes of someday receiving surgery in Kampala, Uganda. Mama continues her balancing act, playing hostess to both rebels and army commanders, and using charm, deflection, and strength to survive. She also maintains a flirtatious relationship with Christian, who expresses his affection and wishes to marry her. However, Mama resists intimacy and vulnerability. Her stoicism is later revealed to be the result of her own trauma. She, too, has been ruined and refuses to be seen as a victim. Act 3. collapse and confrontation. The bar's delicate neutrality collapses when the political situation deteriorates. Kisambi, the rebel leader, is hunted by Commander Osembenga. Both men suspect Mama of harboring the other's interests. Violence begins to close in on the bar. During a government raid, Osembenga threatens everyone. In the chaos, Salima, who has endured too much degradation and has lost all hope, publicly disrobes and dies, saying, "You will not fight your battles on my body anymore." Her death is a searing indictment of the war's violence against women and the failure of society to protect or value them. Afterward, Mama is devastated. Sophie prepares to leave for medical treatment, funded partly by Mama's own sacrifices. The relationship between Mama and Christian, once full of flirtation, becomes more serious. In a final, emotionally raw moment, Mama allows Christian to embrace her, physically and emotionally revealing her vulnerability. The play ends not with resolution, but with fragile hope, a moment of human connection in the midst of enduring suffering. Character analysis. Mama Nottage. Mama Nottage is the heart of the play, tough, commanding, and deeply complex. She is both protector and exploiter, embodying the contradictions of survival under war. She profits from the suffering of others but also shields them from worse fates. Her neutrality is a business strategy, but also a form of emotional self-preservation. Her backstory is revealed subtly, but we learn that she, too, has been raped, making her part of the community of ruined women. Her refusal to be pitied and her insistence on strength make her admirable, yet morally ambiguous. In her final embrace with Christian, Mama briefly lets down her defenses, symbolizing a shift from survival alone to the possibility of healing through connection. Sophie. Sophie represents the spiritual resilience of the play. Though physically damaged and psychologically scarred, she retains her sense of humor, intelligence, and hope. Her desire to get surgery in Kampala reflects the human drive for restoration, even after unimaginable trauma. Her singing becomes a symbolic act of healing and resistance, reclaiming voice in a society that has tried to silence her. Through Sophie, Nottage shows that ruined is not the end of a woman's story. Salima. Salima's arc is the most tragic. Her transformation from passive survivor to vocal martyr shocks the audience. Her monologue before her death reveals the depth of internalized shame and societal cruelty that rape survivors face. Her final act, stripping her clothes and rejecting the roles imposed upon her, becomes a defiant protest. Her death is both devastating and cathartic, forcing the audience to confront the human cost of the war. Christian. Christian is a gentle and poetic man, serving as a contrast to the violence around him. He represents possibility, love, and hope, even in bleak circumstances. His affection for Mama is sincere, and his poetry serves as a counterpoint to the harshness of the setting. Christian's persistence and forgiveness allow Mama to reclaim a part of her humanity, making him an understated but essential character. Themes. 1. Sexual violence as a weapon of war. The central theme of Ruined is the use of rape and sexual violence as tools of terror and domination in armed conflict. Women's bodies become battlegrounds, with rape used to humiliate, destroy, and fracture communities. Nottage dramatizes the invisible and ongoing war against women, showing how trauma endures even after escape. The label, ruined, reflects how victims are blamed and discarded, not just by perpetrators but by their own families and communities. By naming the play Ruined, Nottage forces audiences to confront this dehumanizing label and question its validity. 2. Survival and complicity. The play explores moral ambiguity and survival. Mama Nottie's business shelters women from greater harm, but she also profits from their exploitation. The customers she welcomes are both perpetrators and victims of the larger war machine. The women themselves must make difficult choices, compromise, flirtation, even deception, to survive. Nottage refuses to portray them as pure victims or heroines. Instead, she presents complex humans navigating impossible situations. 3. Hope, healing, and resistance. Despite its harrowing subject, Ruined is also about resilience and the possibility of healing. Sophie's dreams of surgery and a new life, Mama's final moment of openness, and Christian's enduring affection point to the enduring human capacity for love, dignity, and renewal. Singing, storytelling, and human connection become acts of resistance against violence. These moments suggest that while war can break bodies, it cannot fully destroy the human spirit. 4. Gender, power, and patriarchy. The play interrogates the intersection of gender and power. The war's male combatants exercise control not just over territory, but over women's bodies. Yet even in this context, women assert agency. Mama Nadi runs her own business. Sophie and Salima challenge the narratives imposed on them. Nottage critiques a patriarchal system that silences and shames women while allowing perpetrators to thrive. 5. Economic exploitation and global responsibility. The war in the Congo is not just about politics, it is also about natural resources, particularly coltan, a mineral used in electronics. Nottage subtly points to the global economic structures that fuel the conflict and benefit from the chaos. Foreigners like Mr. Harari come to trade, indifferent to the human cost. The global North's demand for resources indirectly sustains the cycle of violence, implicating the audience in a broader system of exploitation. Style and structure. Nottage's play is structured in 3 acts, following classical dramaturgy with a clear arc of exposition, rising tension, climax, and resolution. Her language blends realism with lyrical moments, especially in monologues and songs. Dialogue is rich with cultural nuance, emotion, and musicality. The songs sung by Sophie and the poetic speech of Christian add depth and rhythm to the narrative. The setting, a single location, Mama's Bar, functions as a microcosm of the larger war. The audience experiences the outside world through the stories and emotional journeys of the characters, emphasizing the intimate impact of large-scale violence. Historical and cultural context. Ruined is inspired by the Second Congo War, 1998–2003, often called Africa's World War due to the number of countries involved and the staggering human cost. Sexual violence was used extensively by all factions. Nottage conducted interviews with Congolese women in refugee camps in Uganda, gathering testimony to create a fictional story rooted in real suffering. The play also echoes Brechtian structure, particularly Mother Courage and Her Children, which presents a woman who profits from war while trying to protect her children. Like Brecht, Nottage examines war's corrupting force and its impact on women, but with a deep humanist approach. Conclusion. Lynn Nottage's Ruined is a powerful, painful, and ultimately redemptive work of theater. By centering the voices of Congolese women, the play gives visibility to victims who are often silenced, and challenges audiences to reckon with the human cost of war, globalization, and misogyny. Through the complexity of characters like Mama Nadi, Sophie, and Salima, Nottage rejects simple binaries of victim and perpetrator, offering instead a nuanced exploration of survival, morality, and endurance. Ruined is not merely a political statement, it is a work of profound empathy and artistry. Its emotional impact lingers, and its themes remain urgently relevant in a world still shaped by conflict and inequality. Above all, the play affirms the resilience of the human spirit, even in the most broken of circumstances.